Okay, so thank you everybody for coming out to our event. I know it's obviously not great, but thank you anyway. How many of you have been cyberbullied? No one? Well, not only does it affect middle schoolers and high schoolers, but it affects college students and adults as well. Break the Wall is geared towards creating an awareness of cyberbullying and creates empathy for those being affected by cyberbullying. One way we have done this is by spreading positivity over social media and encourage others to say nice things about people they would otherwise not socialize with. This campaign started 2 years ago in a social media class where a group of students just like us decided to put an end to cyberbullying. Tonight we will have the opportunity to take the negative words and physically break them as a symbol that these words should not discourage us. Before we get started, I would like to welcome a special guest. Marcia DeWitt is a licensed master social worker and is the Intake and Emergency Services Coordinator for Behavioral Health Science Services at Mahaska Health Partnership. She has undergraduate degrees in psychology and paralegal studies and a Master of Social Work from the University of Iowa. She has a certificate in victim offender mediation, and prior to becoming a therapist, she developed restorative programs for juvenile offenders and provided prevention and intervention programs to area youth. So without further ado, please welcome Marcia DeWitt.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for inviting me to speak with you. Bullying of any type is very destructive. And with the onset of digital communications, there's no relief from the harassment. As long as you're electronically hooked up, then your abuser can get at you. The bully can be 1,000 miles away, or they can be right in your school. There's no economic, social, or racial absolutes that speak to this particular type of abuse. Anybody can be a victim, and anybody can be a bully. Cyberbullying is perhaps the most dangerous type, as it can be done anonymously. Remaining anonymous creates decreased feelings of responsibility and accountability in the abuser. Fake screen names, fake profiles can be developed. This makes it easy to be an abuser and also easy to be a victim. Cyberbully can make threats of violence. They can verbally abuse, humiliate their victim, and spread lies that can embarrass or damage a reputation. So, who are bullies? We've all heard the research about bullies who have been victims themselves, that they may live in an environment that encourages them to seek respect through fear, or that they feel a need to compensate for perceived lack of value at home, so they find it in inappropriate and unhealthy ways, such as dominating others. Or they just might be mean, cruel people who feel good only when they cause harm to others. Those types will be lifelong bullies because they feel no remorse for their actions. The newest research, however, finds that most bullies actually have exceptional self-esteem. They have a sense of entitlement and superiority over others. They lack compassion, impulse control, and social skills. Bullies behave in a dominant manner and blame others for the bad things in their lives. They're attention seekers. They often have families who don't care about their behavior and may encourage it because they believe that it's a dog-eat-dog world. They often have parents who discipline inconsistently. If the parent's in a good mood, then the child can get away with lots of different things. If the parent is suffering stress themselves, then they can go off on the kid in a totally unrelated screaming and yelling outrage. The result is a child who does not internalize our social rules of conduct and is someone who has no respect for authority. This explains why adults who are bullied are twice as likely to have criminal convictions and 4 times more likely to be repeat offenders. So who are the victims? Again, the victims can be anybody. They tend to be people who don't have large circles of friends. They tend to be people who are serious about their schoolwork or their job. They often have something that is different about them. And please don't kid yourself that it's different in a negative way. It can be different in a very positive way, and they can still be singled out. There's a variety of psychological and physical symptoms that research indicates can affect the person into adulthood once they've been a victim of bullying of any kind. There can be a pattern created in the victim's mind and in their personality that can last throughout their lifetime. So let's take for a minute the cycle of human development and just think about that. As toddlers, nowadays, little kids, they have access to technology. I have a friend who gives her daughter an iPad. She's 2. But she wants her to be quiet, and the little girl can swipe and pick up things and watch little videos. So very technologically savvy. At this age, children learn by hands-on. They employ all 5 senses to gather information about their world. So caregivers need to be nurturing life skills like empathy and beginning to understand that their behaviors have consequences. So parents and caregivers need to limit screen time for those little ones. Teach them by example that family time comes before technology. So don't have your phone at the dinner table with your children. Help them learn ways to defeat boredom other than grabbing some sort of electronic. Help them find words to express their feelings. Preteens, they watch YouTubes together, they're surfing the internet, they're playing games. You need to know what sites your kids visit. This age may be starting to become very interested in social media. They don't always understand how anonymous behavior affects others. They should, however, know the difference between right and wrong. Older children and teens will often internalize the effects of bullying. Their coping skills aren't fully developed yet. They're not at a level where they can deal with the complexity that comes up with bullying. They can develop a sense of helplessness. This can lead to anxiety, depression, and left unchecked, eating disorders. Their emotional state can actually lead to physical illnesses. Scientists at the Cyberbullying Research Center have found that victims tend to struggle with poor relationships and have difficulty making emotional and social adjustments. The most recent results indicate that a significantly greater proportion of females felt frustrated and angry as compared to males. These researchers felt that the sociological theory of general strain theory explains why stress experienced by an individual can lead to emotional problems and even deviant behavior. A victim who's preoccupied with avoiding certain peers while chatting on the internet, or if they know them in person, avoiding them at school or in the neighborhood, isn't attending to their academics, their family matters, and their responsibilities. Their ability to make good choices can then be compromised. Children and adolescents are focused on seeking acceptance and approval of their peers. Cyberbullying inhibits that goal through rejection and expulsion. A recent study published in the American Journal of Psychiatry finds that the psychological health and cognitive functioning of once bullied kids is compromised well into middle age. There was a greater risk for depression, anxiety, and suicidality. The authors suggest that bullying creates a cycle of victimization that continues and impacts virtually every aspect of their life. Or it could actually affect the hormones and brain chemicals that control the stress response by embedding genetically. It may mirror the link between child abuse and cognitive function, or a sign of early aging. One thing's abundantly clear. This is not the type of thing that we can allow to continue without damage to our society as a whole. Every person who's not fully functioning and a productive citizen as a result of abuse through cyberbullying or some cruelty diminishes us all. It's up to all of us to act. Saying nothing is almost as bad as committing the bullying act itself. I want you to be aware of what the signs and symptoms of depression are. so that you can monitor your friends and your family. Depression will show itself in isolation. So people will tend to just stay away from everybody else. They may hide in their room, so to speak. They will fail to do things that normally would bring them a lot of pleasure. So if they enjoy playing soccer, they won't want to go play soccer. If they enjoy coming up to Smokey Row with their friends, they won't want to do that. They may eat a lot, or they may stop eating. They may sleep a lot, or they may seem to not need any sleep at all. They tend to be hopeless and express that. They also tend to be someone who has frequent thoughts of death. In young people, rather than sadness, you might see irritability. If you notice 5 or more of those symptoms in someone, you need to be very concerned. Don't be afraid to ask them if they're thinking about killing themselves. Merely mentioning it is not going to bring that to the forefront. If they're thinking about it, you need to find out and you need to get them some help. You can call 911 if nothing else. You can escort them to the local ER. Mahaska Behavioral Health at Mahaska Health Partnership has walk-in appointments every day. Load up your friend and take them out there. The thought of taking your own life is an impulsive act. If you can get the person past that moment, you can save them. There's a famous young man who actually survived jumping over the Golden Gate Bridge. 98% of the people who jump off that bridge, and they've been doing it since the 1800s, 98% die. It's like jumping off a 275-foot building, and you hit the water at 75 miles an hour. So you're not likely to survive it. But this young man said the minute he went over the edge, he thought, oh crap, what have I done? And luckily enough, he survived to tell about it. So help your friends to get past that moment. And thank you so much for having me today.
I want to thank all of you guys out for coming to the Break the Wall. I also want to thank Character Ford for the t-shirts, as well as Oskaloosa High and Middle School for letting us break the walls, as well as Eddyville High School. 52% of kids are bullied while attending school. Having empathy and taking others' feelings into consideration is something that needs to be taught not only in the schools, but at home as well. Let's break the cycle, break the silence, and break the wall. Right now, we're going to ask for anyone who would like to come up and break the wall. This is the time to come up and put it into this. As well, if you guys want to sign before we break it, you guys can also come up and sign it. This is the time to reflect in the wall, look at the wall, write on it, and break it. Thank you all.
Not
ahead, come up. Come up and start smashing.
Yeah, you can say you can pass out hammer.
Get it to video. Get a good video.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Oh!
It won't probably take the video, that's why.
Or do you want to do it on mine?
Just take the picture.
For me.
And save it if it's on Snapchat.
How does
I don't know where you're doing it at, but
It's on your regular.
do it on Snapchat.
Good job. Hard as you can. Yeah.
There you go.
Lexi, swing that way.
Yeah, this way I'll
Give it a good one, Mara. Let's go. I'll do a video then. Video on Snapchat.
Everyone try to save it.
Good.
Are you ready?
Go!
Okay, come on, Amanda.
Oh, my hair.
Oh yeah, yeah. Hey, here you go. And this is right.
And save it, and then you can like go through it. Scan through it and like pick out.
I can't do it.
Sergio, I left it up there for you.
I got you.
Come on, bro. Bro. See?
You're a terrible camera.
Friend.
Well, I will. I'm not even gonna do a good job.
There you go.
Guys, come on.
That's my little camera on the way. I'm outside, gonna be on that side.
Get it, Mom. One more.
Why don't you pretend it was that pinata? Doozy. Come on, Doozy.
I don't know which one you got.